That's the wrong thing. God damn.
I know.
She got a freaking Uzi? Who's shooting, the cops or the bad guy?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, Mr. Gray.
Yes, sir.
Can you put that down for me, please?
What's the phone?
Yes, put it down.
I'd rather not. I like to have it recorded.
Can you please put it down?
I'm not touching it. I got it right there.
Yes, I know. And I know what that phone does. Please put it down so it's not recording me, please.
I'm going to go ahead and record. I know it's my right to be able to record.
Excuse me?
I know it's my right to be able to record.
No, not to record me.
Yes, sir. Audio and video.
No.
I'll let you know when I first pulled up.
No.
Citizens have the right to film public officials. It's First Amendment protected free speech.
Put the phone down, please.
I just got it sitting there. It's recording. And you know it's recording.
Okay.
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
You're free to go. You want to go ahead. I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I was going to say as soon as you put it down. So you tell me.
Well, I'm not going to turn it off. I can't go anywhere without my ID.
So whenever you want to leave, just let me know.
So I guess he's making me sit here until I turn the camera off, which I'm not going to do.
Welcome back, my PBM family. Welcome back. Another episode of Old School Cops, presented by PBM. You got the three-man squad tonight. It's like the OG said, you guys know us by now. I ain't got to break down all the accolades. You send a video in, we give you the assessments. The best law enforcement group on social media and television right here. You got nearly 100 years of law enforcement experience. Listen, I appreciate you guys sending all the videos in, and we want to actually add you to the actual program. So what I'm going to do is put a number in the link in the bio, and it will lead to a link. It will be the breaking news link. So you're out and about, you see something that you want to report, all you do is hit the link and start recording. That will live feed right into the PBM brand, and you'll get to see live news from any of our supporters, anybody who support the brand that want to be a part of the brand. Text me, I'll send you the link, and you can kind of be a part of the squad. This particular video, you see the officers having contact with a driver. The driver is recording them. The officer is actually wrong all the way around. You're a public servant. You could be recorded. Like, there's no question asked. I love the fact that the driver said, "Am I free to leave?" Because he actually defines what kind of stop this is. If the officer says, "Yes, you're free to leave," that means it's a consensual stop. That means he can leave anytime he wants. But when the officer messed up he kept his identification. He told him he's free to leave, but I'm keeping your ID. So when you're ready to stop recording, then I'll give you back your identification. Wrong, all the way wrong. Tone, you can add to it because the dude was just wrong. I give the officer F. Go ahead and take it.
I'll give the officer a double F because me as a citizen, I would have drove straight to the precinct and made a complaint where my ID was not given back to me. The officer himself said you are free to go. If you are free to go, that means that you are free to go. You have a lawful right to leave the scene. That means you and your property and your personal beings are free to go. You are no longer under the jurisdiction of law enforcement where you're free to go. So why is this officer keeping or maintaining possession of your identification? He has a lot of explaining to do. And I don't know what to say more than that.
I'm going to take it one step further. The city or the county or the state or the federal government covers your actions as long as you are lawful in what you're doing. as long as you haven't violated any policy or procedure. It is always best, especially when you told a bad and gun, to make sure you have liability insurance that covers you outside of what you may or may not do right or wrong. And in this situation, the city and the county, the state, and the federal government has an option as to whether to cover you when you're acting under color of law. When you step outside of that, you do something stupid like this, at some point in time, somebody's going to successfully sue these people. It's coming. You know, it cannot continue to be this way where you cover them just because they're law enforcement. You can't keep doing dumb stuff and expect there not to be an action. Somebody is going to successfully sue these folk, and they're going to uphold the suit. And some of these cops are going to lose their shirts, their homes, their cars, their checking account, and everything else because this is just dumb. He knows better, but you know what? He's being a smartass, and that's part of the fault of the system. You hire these people. You don't give them the do's and don'ts. You don't play this kind of tape back so they can see the dumb stuff they do. It makes us all look stupid when we tote badges and guns. There's nothing more embarrassing than when you know that you toted a badge and a gun and somebody's doing something just dumb in front of you. And that's what this is. It's a shameful situation that only gets worse because now somebody's got to backtrack and apologize and you know, get this guy back his driver's license. But you know what they do to that cop? They'll put him in a bad neighborhood because it's easier to get away with stuff like this when you're dealing with minorities than it is to be, you know, out in the better parts of town because those folks will complain. He knows he can be videotaped. Matter of fact, he's got his own camera on. The kid said the other day, made a comment about you're in Florida and you can't record. Cop, you can't record me because it's against the law to record me without my permission. No, you're a public servant. You're on a public street. Okay, when you're inside the confines of your own home, okay, that's when you have an expectation of privacy. But when you're out here on the streets serving the public, getting paid by public dollars, they can record you as long as you out there, whatever you're doing, and ain't a daggone thing you can do about it except accept it. So they need to make sure they get liability insurance because at some point in time, they're going to get them. And they're going to hold them financially accountable for some of the stuff they do that's outside the realm.
So on the state level, you don't normally see, I've never heard of officers, police officers, and you've done both. You've done state and you became a Fed. Do federal agents, do you guys have liability insurance that you guys carry out?
Almost definitely. Almost definitely. When I was working the street, I had $1 million worth of liability insurance. Outside of what DEA, you know, if you commit if you do something and they come after you personally, and you're under color of law, you're doing what you're supposed to do in your job, you didn't violate anything like that, any policy and procedures, then they're obligated to represent you. But if you step outside that line and you do something that you weren't supposed to do, you better have your own liability insurance just in case. Now, much of the time, people who carry the liability insurance, many of them had some civil issues, sometimes even within the agency itself where somebody did something stupid to them or they were caught up in a situation and they had to pay some liability because of what they did, you know, whether it was a sexual act or, you know, making a pass at somebody, putting your hands on somebody, stuff like that, that did not rise to the level of criminal charges. But if a person wanted to sue you personally, you had a liability insurance. And most of the guys I know that use it were usually for personal stuff. Rarely did we have anybody really get caught up and get sued, you know, for what they were doing on the job, because most of the time, every once in a while you have somebody do something stupid, but most of the time, guys were in legitimate shootouts and folks filed charges against them and the government had to represent them. But
is it mandatory or not?
The cities are they cover their own liability. Most of the cities are self-insured. And that's the thing that gets them is they'll settle a suit anyway, just to keep from having to deal with the litigation. They'll settle a lawsuit and pay it off. So that's another issue by being self-insured.
Joe.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask Ted, right? They weren't like covered under the federal government because he's 100% correct where,
yep,
you know, we were covered under the city and we, you know, That's why guys act like free for all. I could do whatever, and it's not going to come back to me. And I think with all law enforcement, like it is in the medical profession, like it is in the legal profession, you doing a practice, you have to have a insurance to practice, and that should be required. And as long as you're in the legal realm of doing what's right under the guidelines of the SOP, the standard operation procedures, you're covered. When you fall out of that with misbehavior, then you become liable. So it's like, when people were with cameras, remember back in the day, all three of us, they had the big handheld camcorders, and they would be shooting stuff, and you're out there and you're working. Yes, yeah. Me, what I would tell citizens or people who are shooting that, please send that to me, because you have my probable cause. You have my evidence for why this person is being arrested. The judge is going to see what you're recording. You doing me a favor. Bring it, bring it, bring it. So I never had a problem. I never feared any misconduct because I was following the letter of the law, and I was doing what I was taught and what I was trained to do according to the standard operating procedures.
Yeah, definitely.
The thing is, we get caught up with that qualified immunity. And like what I'm saying is, qualified immunity at some point in time is going to go away. This mess they're doing now with ICE, where he shot that woman 7 times and she wasn't even an immigrant. He alleged she had a gun and she didn't. The kid the black kid that ran out of the store, and the guy wrestled him down and arrested him. Qualified immunity is really getting challenged right now. And I think at some point in time it's going to go, because there's their justification. I'm covered by qualified immunity. I can do what I want to do. And I don't care how you look at it. At some point in time, it gets so egregious that the court is not going to have a choice but to lift it, because there's so many bad things happening. My wife today, there were 123 kids not in her school today, because ICE is in that part of town locking up their parents. Okay, so 123 kids didn't show up today because ICE is in the area locking their parents up, and they have now a standard operating procedure for schools. If ICE tries to come in your building, I don't know what it is. I made some recommendations to them. We'll see what happens, but it's coming, because we got some schools in DeKalb County where I live where 60-70% of the student population is Hispanic. Okay,
Right.
Their parents are driving by the school, dropping them off, and all the other good stuff. Walking to the bus stop, coming to pick them up, and these guys just walking up to them and snatching them. Regardless of whether they catch, they end up grabbing American citizens at the same time. And I'm just saying this to be honest with you. At some point in time, that liability thing is going to be, that qualified immunity thing will be washed away, because they're stepping too far on the other side of it. There's not even a question of whether they're right or wrong. Most of the, you break a man's window, you got no way of verifying who he is, except the fact that he looks Hispanic, and you break his window and drag him out the car, and you got a mask on,
Right.
sometimes not even having a badge on to show who you are. It's just crazy.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I think all of us are watching videos. They are kicking in doors to people's homes with no warrant.
No
right?
warrant.
You have no lawful right to
No
be
PC.
there. And no lawful right. And you're trying to, abduct someone in their home. I mean, and you guys know, if we did that in law enforcement, these are crimes. They're committing felony crimes.
Yeah, lock you up.
Unbelievable. This is unheard of. Unheard of.
And when I see some of the actions that they do, they don't even look like cops. And what I mean by look is the tactics, the way they approach. Cops have a certain culture, the way they move. I don't even see like real training. It seemed like a bunch of guys with just throwing some fatigues and uniform and masks, and they just running around just saying, "I'm ICE, I'm a federal." I'm really curious. I start looking at their training. Like if I'd apply for the job to see what the training is, I think it was like 8 weeks. It was something crazy. I was like, within 8 weeks, you could be an ICE agent.
Well, that's also wrong, because it's most of us. I think my training was 90 days.
Yeah,
from June to September. From June to September. So there's a 12-week CS school that everybody had to go to. That other than
You said 9 days. Did he say 9 days?
90 days.
Oh, 90.
90
I missed
days.
that zero because I was about to get on you, Ted. All
June,
right.
July,
All right.
August. It was 4 months, almost 4 months. It was 4 months. It was 4 months. But they had a different school for different agencies. So, like, there's a mandatory CS school for Secret Service and guys. They had to go for 12 weeks and then come back to another class. Right now, what they're doing is they're just hiring folks like crazy. But you're right, Joe. They are taking folks from different law enforcement agencies who've never worked together, and they're going out and doing this ransacking, just reckless abandonment. We're gonna stop anybody, ask you who you are, and if you don't want to answer, we're gonna lock you up. Now, here's the thing that we keep forgetting: when they do violate the law and they are prosecuted or they are brought into civil litigation, or they do civil litigation because they violated their rights, they're going to win. They're going to settle the cases. Guess whose money they settle the cases with?
the taxpayers.
Our money.
Taxpayers' money. That's right. And that's the sad part about it is. And then when this guy leaves office, this is what he's going to do. He's going to pardon all of them. Every single last one of them from criminal charges in federal court. And notice I said federal court.
Right.
Because nothing stops the states from charging.
Right.
If they learn their identity, like the guy who shot the woman 7 times, he's going to get prosecuted. And they're going to try to pull the case into federal court to try to dismiss it. Federal judge is going to say, oh, no. We're not covering you. You're on your own.
Right.
You shot a citizen.
But, you know, it's interesting, Ted, to what you're saying as far as that. And, Joe, you remember where they were trying to keep a record of officers. Remember where they had a database where when you do wrong, right, you cannot go from one department to another department. The Trump administration came in and wiped that out and said, now it doesn't matter. So now you can go from one department to another department to another department. There's no record, and you can do misconduct along the way, and there's no accountability. And guess, like you said, Ted, guess who picks up the bill?
Yep.
We the people, unfortunately.
You heard it from the squad, my people. As always, if you got a gripe with law enforcement, take it to the courtroom. Side of the road is not where you want to be for them. They have home court advantage. They will win all day, every day on the side of the road. Your win is in the courtroom. You have more officers getting suspended, terminated, and charged more now than you've ever seen in history. So make the playing field even by taking it to the courtroom. Be safe. See you next video.
Of policy and of the law.
It's very disappointing.
That's how the Inglewood police chief describes the actions of one of his own officers in this body camera video. Former officer Ryan Vicina is now facing assault charges after he tased a man and put him in a chokehold during a traffic stop in October. Police say the driver, a Venezuelan national, failed to stop at a stop sign.
I'm Officer Vicina, Inglewood PD. A couple reasons why I'm stopping you. One, tengo licencia.
The district attorney's office says the driver did not speak English very well. Less than 2 minutes into the traffic stop,
Get out.
the officer orders the man to get out of the car.
We're not going to play this. Get out of the car.
Before using a taser and putting him in a chokehold, a kind of restraint that's against the law for police to use in Colorado.
This type of conduct is a stain on the profession.
We asked the Inglewood police chief what steps he's taking to make sure this does not happen again. Going forward, how are you making sure officers can overcome language barriers while policing?
I think it's important to note that in this case, a Spanish-speaking officer was en route to the scene. We also have interpretation services available to officers at all times. I think it's important to note that there is not a lack of services available. This was a lack of compliance on the part of the officer.
The chief says every officer that uses force has to report it at the end of their shift. Those reports are then reviewed the same day. Because of this process, the chief says this traffic stop would have been on his radar even if the victim had not come forward.
I felt that some of the language violated our values. I felt that the taser violated our policy, and I felt like the neck encirclement violated the law.
In Arapahoe County, I'm Maggie Bryan.
Welcome back, my PBM family. Welcome back. Another episode of School Cops. You got the three-man squad. You got Tone Ted. You got over just about 100 years of law enforcement experience from the state level all the way to the federal level. You send the videos, we give the analysis. I'd like to give a shout out to my PBM supporters. You guys are sending in videos. I love it. I appreciate the response that you guys, I appreciate the support. Appreciate it so well. We're inviting you, our audience, to join the new segment called Breaking News. There's going to be a number. I'm going to put a number in. There's a link. You see Breaking News. I send you a link and you start recording. You narrate it. You go live stream right on the PBM brand. So if you see Breaking News out there, give a shout. You want to be a part of the squad. This is the way to do it. The number's right here. We'll send you the link and you start recording Breaking News. This particular video, as you see, the chief, his own guy, the police chief said, no, we don't do that. It's not acceptable. He violated the law, violated policy. He's fired, terminated, and arrested. So when we always talk about how important it is for officers to actually follow policy, procedures, the law, it's very important because you're going to come across a chief who's not always going to be looking out for you. This chief had, you know, I think hands down, I give him an A for holding his bad apple accountable, removing him out of the police department so that community can be a lot safer from an officer like that. You know, we're talking about tasing, chokehold. We're talking about rolling through a stop sign. All of that. Come on, man. We got to do better. The chief said we got to do better, and you can't ask for no more accountability than that. Hands all the way, hands down to that chief. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I didn't. You didn't see any aggressive type of actions on that individual. And there are. I've had calls where I've had the language barrier, and I did the best I could to speak. Sometimes you got to use hand gestures, and you get the but don't escalate. Don't use, again, the level of force used should offset, I guess the resistance. And there was really no resistance. Why? And if a chokehold is banned or barred from your department or agency, why are you using it? So, I mean, I just, these are, it's, you know what? I hope that law enforcement across America are capturing data, video, and I hope they're listening to the public and they can come up with something that will address issues that are occurring over and over again, because we're not talking about anything new. We keep talking about the same thing that's happening in law enforcement, and something needs to be done.
100% in agreement. I can see you chiming in and shaking your head, OG. Go ahead and close it.
Man, let me tell you something. When we start talking about the people we're bringing on this job now, these folks already have an axe to grind. A lot of them are overly aggressive, and they're not meant to serve the community. They're there to torture the community. You have to have patience when you tote a badge and a gun. You got to be of good mind and thought, because one incident can cause you to pull your gun and pull that trigger. And once you pull that trigger and that bullet goes out, it can't come back. So you got to think about that when you step out and do these things, especially now when you're recording yourself. I say this over and over and over again. You're on a stage. You're acting, basically. And everything you say and do is going to be judged after the fact. If you're not patient, if you're not kind, if you're not considerate, especially when there's a language barrier, then you're in trouble. I don't care who you are. You're in trouble. And to use a chokehold nowadays, you're definitely in trouble. And what that does, it puts the chief in a position where he has to be more political than normal, because now he's got to make a decision where his job stands. Like the sheriff we had down in Florida that was trying to condone what this guy did when he beat the kid up or whatever it was. You can't do that. You got to err on the side of caution. You got to be politically correct. You got to make sure the general public doesn't look at you as a terrorist organization. Every time you stop somebody, you beating them up, cussing them out, calling them names, tasing them, locking them up, choking them. Who wants to be a cop in a department where this stuff is happening every day? What good-minded person does? Okay? So the thing we got to realize is this. We got to change our recruiting modes. We got to make sure we understand what kind of people we're hiring in these police departments. And we got to make sure that they know when to turn it on and when to turn it off. You know, a traffic stop for running a stop sign? Get out of the car? Come on now. You know, tasing somebody, choking them out over a stop sign? What you gonna do when this really bitty badass is coming after you? And you really got to battle until somebody comes to help you. You know, you can talk that smack now, but law averages always catches up with us. There's always somebody out there that's gonna try you. I don't care how big and bad you think you are, because you know when they start doing crazy stuff, when it's more than one, 3 or 4, you got to be able to adjust your attitude to the circumstances. Once he saw the man was not an English speaker, wait until the interpreter gets there. That's the easiest way to do it. But at the same time, I'm going to say this and we're going to say it all over again. You are being recorded. This is candid camera. There's no way you can get away with what you're doing, because not only are you recording yourself, but 9 times out of 10, somebody else is recording you. And you got dash cam camera too. So that's even worse, because this is a wide angle dash camera. So it is what it is. But I just wish we'd do a better job of hiring people, holding them accountable, and making sure they understand what their role is when they show up. You know, you're dealing with a citizen who's paying your salary. Treat them with respect until they cross the line. Let them cross the line, and then you do what you got to do. Okay, that's the way I feel.
Yeah, the interpreter was on the way. According to the chief, he was like, the interpreter was on the way. Like, what's the rush? What are you doing?
No patience.
Like, it just didn't make any sense, man. You heard it from the squad. Please take your fight to the courtroom. See you next video. Be safe.
Come on, boy. Shamar looking at. Shamar. Come here. What you want, Shamar, foot? Shamar, foot. What you want, Shamar? Shamar looking at. Come on. Look at them ankles, boy. Shamar looking at. Junior. Junior. Hey, foot, don't touch my brother, foot.
Oh, hell no, those ankle asses.
Look at them bitches, bad crackhead. Other bitches, Lauren. That's his ass. That's his ass. Oh my God,
The little kid's in there, not the big kid. The big kid's not touching them. I'm saying the little one.
I should smash that bitch on my brother. Damn! Crack! Damn! Hey, fool, let my homie go. Let my motherfucking homie go. Beat his ass, yo! Damn! They working it! Damn! Oh my God!
Welcome, my PBM family. Welcome. Another episode of Old School Cops presented by PBM. You got the 3-man squad today. You have nearly 100 years of law enforcement experience from the state level all the way to the federal government. Thank you for sending the videos. I tell you guys, it don't necessarily have to be a police video, and you guys are doing just that. So you get to see a different viewpoint when it comes down to when you send in a video that has nothing to do with policing. Appreciate your support. Love that you guys are sending these videos. We're starting a new program to where you can actually join the squad. I'm gonna leave a number on the actual site. What you do is you text me, I'll send you the link, and if you see breaking news, you can start recording breaking news, and your feed will be live coming into the PBM brand. So join the squad. We look forward to seeing you, and let's bring our audience into the squad with us. This particular video, I, I don't even have words for it. I couldn't even look at it multiple times. You have a pregnant mother, young black mother, where her real tiny child, the kids was so small. It bugged me out to see them get attacked by other little small kids. Like these kids are like elementary school kids. There's no, I'm like lost for words when I see this video. These kids are so young, so little, because there come a certain age where as much parental raising or guidance that you do to your kid, when they get to a certain age, it's kind of like left up to like them to make the right decisions. You don't really have that much of influence in them when they get to that older stage. But this stage right here, there's no way anybody could convince me that parenting, bad parenting, has everything to do with these kids' behavior. These little badass kids jumped a pregnant woman and little tiny kids. If you ask me, man, at this age, parents should be held accountable. I think parents should be charged for their kids' act when it gets to this. This was egregious. This is crazy. Like, this was crazy. I never want to see an adult, right, to put hands on little kids, but she was getting attacked. It was a wolf packer. They threw on the ground. The little kid was trying to protect the mom. They grabbed him. They threw him. Yo, I felt so bad. I was like, come on, grab these kids and start throwing them off. I really wanted her to protect her two children. And she could not. Them little kids was getting beat. She was getting beat. She was pregnant. And these kids was so young. Like, I just can't believe what I just saw. Like, I'm one that I've seen a lot, especially in policing. So you kind of get numb to a lot of things, but there's certain things that still affect you. And when you see something like this, that shit bothered me so much to see all these little badass kids jump on this pregnant woman and her little tiny babies. Like, I would really want these parents to be charged for these kids. I know they ain't gonna do it, but it would be so nice to see something like this happen. These kids are way too big. That's strictly upbringing. Like, you still have a lot of control over your kids at that particular age. And for them kids to act the way they act, nah, I'm not buying it. I'm definitely not buying it. Go ahead, Tone. You can take this away, man.
Whether I look at this video today, tomorrow, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, if I'm still alive, God bless, it bothers me and annoys me. And I wish this lady had a teenage kid that was there at the scene. And, the fruit don't fall far from the tree, and we really do need to hold the parents accountable for what their children do. Now, if y'all remember recently in Norfolk, Virginia, in the public school, where the 6-year-old kid shot the teacher. They just had that case in court, and the teacher won the case, the civil case, and won $10 million because the school failed to protect her because she sent information and it wasn't followed out properly, and as a result, the tragedy has happened. The same thing needs to apply with these children. Enough that they're kids. You got to hold the parents. I, as a kid myself, I feared my mom because, as a child, you represent your family. If I did that, my mom would I don't know what would happen to me. And it's embarrassing to the family, it's embarrassing to the community, and it's embarrassing to our country, all of us. This is horrible. I feel so, I don't know what to say. This really bothers me. But we do need to hold parents accountable for their children. You know what? I would like to interview the parents and say, is that your child? What do you think they're doing? Do you justify that behavior? Let's bring it to court. Let's bring it to court and hold the kid and the parent on trial for the case of what that child did, because it's horrific and it's embarrassing and it should never happen this day and age in this country.
OG, go ahead. You got the mute button on? OG, we can't hear you. Mute button.
All right, I got you.
Okay, there you go.
So we're in the third generation of crack babies. In the 1980s, when I first became a DEA agent, we were in places in Oakland, California that were just horrendous. You know, when I was a Memphis cop, I saw babies walking around with soiled diapers, high on drugs. You know, when you go into places where these places are crack infested, you could walk into house after house right next door to each other, and everybody's selling crack. So these crack babies have now come full force, and they're now grandparents, believe it or not. And the impact of the drugs on the minds of these children and their children is being felt even more so now. A young lady I mentored at the King Center, her son murdered somebody last year. He was 5 years old when he first got suspended from school for kicking a teacher. The system is more concerned about how many bodies they get in the schoolhouse so they can get that money than they are about making sure they raise responsible citizens. Now, I can sit here and tell you about me helping my dad put brakes on the car at probably 12 or 13 years old. And a 5-year-old walks by and drops the F-bomb. And my dad asks him, this is in the 60s and 70s. My dad asks him, can you spell that word you just said? He can't spell it, but he knows how to use it. He used it appropriately. So what we're doing is, when it used to be 1 or 2 kids in the classroom out of control, now 60, 70% of the class is out of control. I sat in a high school directly across from 3 young ladies. They were talking, casual conversation. Every other word out of this young lady's mouth was MF. She put Bernie Mac to shame because within 30 seconds, she said MF 6 times. And when I waved at her and she saw me, she said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, can I ask you a question? Why is it necessary? Oh, we just talking. I said, but why is it necessary to talk like that in a public school, in the cafeteria, with an old gray-bearded man like me sitting across and you claim you didn't see me? No, you just did it because this is the way y'all act. You got no home training. You got no respect for elders. And see, this is what happens when they hit the street and thinking they're gonna get away with stuff with cops, and they end up dead. Even when they right, they still end up dead because they're disrespectful. So where it starts, the one place they come to is the schoolhouse. And I know we put a lot of pressure on teachers and stuff like that. But classroom management, Joe, classroom management. Mm-hmm. If the parents can't do it, the teacher got to do it. And they got to know how to do it. If they can't do it, then they ain't got no business teaching, to be honest with you. Because what I see in some of these classrooms, being honest with you now, it's just ridiculous. I don't see, and you got 30 kids in the classroom. So not only is it tolerated at home, it's tolerated at school. And then what makes it even worse is the criminal justice system is waiting for them. And we're talking about dropping big dollars. We're talking about $30,000 to $50,000 a year to house somebody in jail. Okay? That's what it costs taxpayers. But guess who's making the money? The people who invest in prisons. Okay? Mm-hmm. The folk that's got that kind of money to throw around. So here's real clear. Here's where it's headed. Here's where it's got to go. It's not just high school anymore. It's not just middle school anymore. We got to start in elementary school, and we got to change the path of some of these young people And we got to change the path of the parents. And it starts with the district attorney's office and the solicitor's office getting engaged in some of these schoolhouses and making an example out of some of these parents that aren't raising these kids. Joe, nothing more embarrassing than watching a kid run around a classroom, 5 years old, run up and down the hall, and the teacher can't catch him. So then I catch him, and I hold on to him till the principal gets there. Joe, I got to go home and change my shirt because I now smell like crack cocaine. This boy running around like a bandit in the schoolhouse. He probably high from being in the car with his mama smoking crack before she went to school that morning. That musty, funky crack odor was on my clothes from holding a 5-year-old who was running around acting a clown. So the problem is bigger than all of us are. And we got to figure out a way forward. And like I keep telling folks, I'll just throw it out there. Grown folk ain't gonna solve this problem. We got to get teenagers engaged in mentoring and tutoring in elementary schools, and we got to pay them for that time. Because if parents can't give them the home training, let's find some positive teams that can help them get that home training inside their schoolhouse so that they can feel like, like I can be somebody one day. Because right now, it's ugly, man. It's ugly. So this is nothing but, this is just part of the system, something that happens every day in the hood. I'm done.
Yeah, Tom.
No, I just want to, the comment I want to make now, and it's to you guys and everybody, and Ted, you worked in there, Joe and law enforcement, in the field, where the communities, the area, because again, we saw some young Black children with a mom and her Black child. There are 40 million Black people in the United States, right? Now, you guys, Ted, you, Joe, you, myself, I know our children would not do this. And I know we wouldn't do it because the way we were raised. Mm-hmm. The problem, where is the problem? And I don't want us to bear the burden on that problem. So that problem is coming from somewhere in some communities. Like, and don't get me wrong, white communities, Latino communities, they have their problems too. Oh, and you know what? I don't want to make it sound divisive because you got levels of poverty, you got the levels of the working class, you got us all doing the right thing and raising our kids and want the best for our families. And in all those groups, you got people who are doing the right thing, and you got the people who are doing the wrong thing. The people who are doing the wrong thing it's a problem. It's a problem because we all suffer. Taxpayers, crime, child abuse, it's a problem. So I just want it to be known that it's a real situation to where I don't want a broad brush painted where it's a Black problem, it's a white problem. There's a group, there's a segment of the population that's causing that problem. It's not the majority, it's the small. And we need to still address that because even the small is going to affect the big. I think y'all understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's like in everything. The bad apples spoil a whole bunch, bro. It's like that within the community. It's like that within policing. It's like that in just about everything that you can name up. But there's some communities that get more attention than others. The poor Black community get more attention than the trailer park poor white trash. It's just that's just what it is. Like, so that's just how this shit is designed. The shit that pissed me off is that there was on a city street and nobody from that community couldn't intervene. Nobody. Like, it just really bothers me, bro. Like, I could not be driving down the block and see all them kids jumping on some female like that without getting out intervening. There's no way possible. This was it was broad daylight. There was little kids, Tom. Did you see the son trying to shield the mother? And the kid grabbed him and he just threw him. I'm like, what is going on in this kid's mind? He is another little kid doing this. These are not even teenagers. They ain't even had double digits yet. Like, in your mind, like, yo, like, I just don't get it, bro. Like, I really think, like, that's, like OG said, man, the parents, y'all, they fucked up when it comes down to raising these children. Like, they're fucked. If your kid at that age can go out and commit a wolf pack attack and they feel so comfortable with it, that it wasn't even like I'm doing anything wrong. You see how comfortable you had a kid narrating it? That he was on like, yo, I cannot believe that age group was acting like that. Like, I'm bugged out, bro.
I wish, as an experimentation, and I mean this for the positive, that we could take that one group, right? Each kid, the parent, the child, let's get the educational level, let's get the income level. What are they married? Were the parents married? Educational. Did they finish school? Was anybody in the correctional system? Are there drugs in the home? And find out what would make the product of what we saw. There's so many variations to that. But I wish we could look at that under a lens and find out what happened with that little group and find out. And then you might have to go back, like Ted said, a couple of generations to find out why is the mindset. I remember, if I did, Joe,
you were scared of neighbors. You were scared of adults.
Yes.
You could be doing the most dumb shit in the world, but you was worried about adults. You would never try to put your hand on an adult. I know we in a different era, different age, different times, but you got little kids. They jumped on a full-blown pregnant adult. Like, I'm just.
But see, Joe, this is normal. This is normal and acceptable behavior. This is every day. This is what they see and they view it as normal. And that's the part that you got to realize that has to be addressed. And it starts, unfortunately, with teen pregnancy. It starts, unfortunately, with being raised in areas where this, again, is normal to have multiple young ladies. The girl I was mentoring, she was one of 8 teenagers between the age of 12 and 15 that one man impregnated. One 35-year-old man impregnated 8 teenagers. And the way her son, she was 14 when she got pregnant. The way her son found out about his 7 siblings was when he got arrested, okay, because he stole a watch from a teacher in the schoolhouse in his own video, and the cops came to the house to get it. And when he went to juvenile court and told him who his dad was, because she finally told him who his real daddy was, when he told him who his daddy was, the computer hit on his siblings, and there were 7 of them. All of them had been through juvenile court. All of them with teenage mothers, and all of them with a father who was 35 years old, who committed, much like Epstein, he molested teenage girls and impregnated them in one housing project. Okay, and they're all at juvenile court. So we know what the trend is. The question is, instead of us sitting here fighting and arguing about having access to abortion, we'd be fighting and arguing about how do we keep our teens from becoming parents. And one of the things that we've been talking about is relationships, trying to figure out ways to get them to understand about relationships, because a lot of that leads into the domestic violence. A lot of that leads into women raising children without fathers, okay? A lot of that leads into kids invading our criminal justice system because this is normal for them. I mean, like we were at Salem the other day, and that boy, okay, he that's normal for him. And he's running the show. He walks in and out when he gets ready, okay. And what he did, I asked him the other day. I said, "So how many times you been suspended?" And he said, 3. I said, "So how many times do they have to suspend you before they send you to alternative school?" He looked at me and said, "What do you mean?" I said, "It's a setup. They're letting you run amok, and every time you violate the policy, they suspend you. Once you get to a certain number, you're gone. They're going to send your butt to alternative school and get you out the building. It's a setup, you know." And he's 15 years old. Twin boys, Tone. Twin boys, 15 years old in the 7th grade.
Unbelievable.
7th grade.
And that's the school.
I was more behind.
Talking
And
about school.
they're not going to graduate. They're not going to graduate, Joe.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they're too slow. They're too far behind. I mean, I couldn't get him to do timetables. 4 timetables. He got to 12 and he nutted up on me. And I'm not doing this no more. So that tells me that not only are you 15 years old, you 3 years from being an adult. And this is the good kid, the one who stays out of trouble. By the way, he got arrested last week because he was buying marijuana in the bathroom. The good kid was.
Damn.
So that lets you know.
I just hope.
Daddy got killed when the day before they were born, 15 years ago. The daddy got killed the day before they were born. They said he was set up. I remember that, Joe, because 15 years ago I was around, old dude. I was around.
Right.
I remember had the babies the next day. Daddy got killed, and the very next day she went in labor and delivered twins.
Damn.
I remember.
Ted, it's like those stories that you're saying. This all so common.
Yes.
In those communities, but to the point I want to make, right? In those communities, that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
That doesn't represent the Black community.
Nope.
Just like Joe, you explained earlier with the meth addicts, doesn't represent the white community. Whether it's Latinos and they have bad drug problems and crime problems and shoplifting, it doesn't represent the whole. I just want people to understand it doesn't represent the whole.
Nope.
We don't raise our kids that way, and we're appalled by it. At the same time, we show empathy because there is a problem, and it's a problem for all of us. But I just don't want everybody to look at it as a Black problem. It's a crime. You want to say poverty problem, or there's an issue with, how, generations, there's something wrong, but don't look at the whole race. A drop in the bucket to the whole totality of people.
No, I get what you're saying, and I just think that you preach it to the choir, because everybody, when they look at this, they go, "Oh yeah, that's the Black community." They always put us in that. Whites don't have to go through that. A trailer park meth dude, he can get arrested, he can get the most fucked up thing happen to him, and nobody says, "Oh yeah, that's the white community." Nobody does that. But let it be the very small percent, all right, of the entire Black community, which is what? Maybe 2-3 million, right, out of 40 million that's poverty for the Black community. That represents the whole entire community. Don't you notice, right? When people talk about low income, they always say the Black community. What the fuck is a Black community? Just to be honest, what do society, right, looks at when you say the Black community? They automatically gonna think the hood. They automatically gonna think poverty, right? And the Blacks that occupy that, it's less than 1% of the whole race. Like, I don't get that.
But they're accessible to the media, and that's the problem. They're accessible to the media, and they get seen on everybody's television because they're accessible to the media. They're just as bad in places where whites are majority. That was it, a guy that killed 7 family members not too long ago in a rural area, and it got a little bit of play. Kill 7 folk in any metropolitan city, and I promise you, it's gonna run for days. They're gonna follow through court. They're gonna investigate everybody and everything they can. But what we got to realize is this: we're not fighting against necessarily people who are the worst criminals in the world. We're fighting against the lack of home training. The lack of foundational home training. I was 35 years old before I cursed in front of my mother. And I said, shit, because a kid ran out in front of my car chasing a volleyball, ball. And I said, oh, shit. And I said, oh, Mom, I'm sorry, real quick, before I even thought about it, because that's the way I was raised.
Right.
You don't use that kind of language in front of your parents, and see, they haven't gotten that. It's like the kid at the school, Joe, when he called the guy effing snitch in front of my neighbor. My neighbor said, I can't work in this place.
Yeah.
Not with that going on, because that's so disrespectful. He politely showed the man to the bathroom, and then when he gets inside, he calls the kid in the bathroom an effing snitch.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
With a grown man, with a 68-year-old man standing there, he called him an effing snitch.
Wow.
So they don't have any values. They don't have any morals. How can they become good parents? How can they, when they got this mess going on? And they don't fear anything. They think that they're gonna live forever. That's a scary part. Because like I told him, I said, dude, you headed down the wrong path. I said, death is calling your name. You just don't know when. It's coming, because you walk around thinking you're Billy Badass, and you're 15 years old, and you're in the seventh grade. He's about the size of a seventh grader, unfortunately. He was in high school. Woo! He'd be gone already.
Yeah. Yeah. Tone, this was a school we were speaking at, doing some mentorship, speaking to kids. And that's the kid he's talking about. 15 years old. And like, he's been arrested multiple times. He's been kicked out of this. He's in 7th grade, and he's been to several junior high schools already, middle schools. Like, you can maintain one school, junior high. There's not even high school. Junior high. Right. How are you in junior high? You in 7th grade, right? And you went to 3, 4 junior high schools. Like, how is that even? Why is that happening?
So he keeps getting kicked out from school to school to school.
Yeah, and he's selling vape pens, and takes the money home, and mama takes the money and pays bills with it.
So say, hey, can we get his mama on the air?
I wish.
Can we get him and his mama on the air? And can we have a
total waste of time?
We have absolutely. But to your point, Ted and Joe, I just want the public to know that we're appalled just like them, but with empathy, and something needs to be done. But at the same time, don't blame the race. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100%. It's not just I wish I could say it was a racial problem so we could fix it because of racism, but it is a morals problem.
Yeah, it's
morals. I don't care how you look at it. Their value system doesn't exist.
Yeah,
and that's the scary part. When I've talked to these kids and I've asked them, what's going on in your neighborhood you don't like, and they'll tell me, okay, and then I'll go, what happens to the people who do these things in your neighborhood you don't like? Oh, they eventually go to jail, they get dead. Okay. Who takes their place? That's what I ask them. Who takes their place? Mm-hmm. They look at me like, what do you mean? I said, who's going to be the pimp, the prostitute, the robber, the drug dealer? Okay. Who's going to take their roles in about 5 or 6 years? And they go, what do you mean? And I said, look in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's you. All these folks, just like you, they sat in the school with an opportunity to learn. And instead of learning, they decided that this lifestyle was what they wanted. Whether they had to do it to make money, to be able to afford to live, whatever decisions they made to cause them to get involved in the criminal element, the low morals element. I mean, you think about it, pimps and prostitutes still exist, but now you got girls, teenage girls, pimping girls in high school. Okay. All right, we ain't talking about guys pimping girls pimping girls in high school. All right, and this is what they're doing, and you wonder why there's so much going on the outside with these kids being kidnapped and trafficked all over the place. They're trafficking them in the neighborhoods. They're trafficking them in the school. I watched a teenager at one campus set her stuff up. Okay, and once that money hit her phone, that's when she got in the car. And I asked her about it next time I saw her. And you know what she told me? She said, I'm not going to get pregnant. I protect myself. I'm not going to be like my mama. But I got to make this money, Mr. Golden. I got to make this money. You know?
Wow.
And one of the guys getting in the car with her was a football player. And she was a flag football player herself. Yeah.
Wow.
Being straight up.
I'm trying to fathom what y'all saying, because I'm just going to take y'all back on memory lane. I remember as a kid that, you know, not only were you afraid to engage an adult in a negative way, but if you were walking down the street as a little group and you was at a church, if you were passing a church and somebody said a curse, you were scared.
Yeah.
You was like, oh my God. Forget. You remember those days? Oh my God. Forget. And you do the sign across and you would pray. Oh,
yeah.
That is so good. You remember that, Joe, right?
Yes, would check you. They'd be like, "Yo, stupid as a church." You'd be like, "Oh my bad."
Yes.
You know,
your peers. Yes. Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They don't. They ain't got that good religion, man. They ain't been taught it. And look, and here's the sad part, Joe. This is what I told a kid the other day. I said, here's the worst part about it. When that hot lead hits you, you holler for mama and Jesus, and not necessarily in that order. Ain't never been to church, okay? But you holler for mama and Jesus. Don't let me die. Lord, go get my mama, y'all. You know, and that's if you can talk after you've been hit.
Right.
Yes. But you know what? But you were more scared of your mama than the police.
Right.
You feared that from home.
Yeah.
And now it's sad, but the parent or the mama, the crap mama, whatever you want to call her, she's protecting or defending the child. Scary.
Walk up in there with that bonnet on her head, a house coat, and some house shoes, and no clothes under it.
Yeah.
Walk up in that schoolhouse and start raising hell. You know?
Yes.
Here's the worst part, Joe. So this happened at one of the high schools. The mama come got the boy. He got suspended. And when she got there, she had her finger in his face. She called him all kind of names, told him what she going to do to him. Walked outside the school door, and he commenced to whooping her ass. We had to go get him. We had to go put him from his mama and call the police to come lock him up. No joke.
Yo, so listen, we all can identify it, right? What is the solution? What is can you even fix this?
It's a multifaceted solution because it's a multifaceted problem. We got to approach it in a way and break it down into little pieces, like I said before. And it's not something that's going to happen over it because it took generations to get here. It's going to take generations to get out of it. But what I'm saying more than anything else, and I'm talking to the educators about this, there are not enough grown folk to make an impact on these children. They're just not. We don't have the time. But here in DeKalb County, we have 3 high schools that sit on the same campus with elementary schools. And what I'm saying is those high school kids that are seniors that are only taking 2 classes a day and going home, or 2 classes a day and staying on campus and taking 2 more classes because they can't go home, because they don't have a job or an internship, teach them how to make them a qualified para, teach them, let's bless them with some nonviolence training so they can know how to talk to these kids without being disrespectful and take them along the way. But you go across the street to school, you do reading, writing, and math, but the biggest thing you get is assimilation. Because when they're exposed to folk who know how to act, who dress the role, who talk the role, who are probably going to go to college one day or at least get some advanced degrees. And when they get exposed to them, and they love them teenagers. The program I did, Joe, at the Rittering Week program, when I had 1,000 kids in that gymnasium, 1,000 kids. And those high school kids, when I sent them up in the audience to greet them before we left, you should have seen them. They were just so excited just to be able to touch a football player, a band member, a basketball player.
Right.
They were so excited to see them kids and be able to just put their hands on them. That is the impact. Now, when you walk into a classroom with pre-K through 3rd grade or even 4th and 5th graders, okay, and you're sitting there working with them, something their mama don't do on timetables, teaching them how to read and write. Okay, the biggest thing you get is assimilation, because once they get to high school, guess what they're gonna want to do? They're gonna reach back, and you ain't got to go far. It's right across the daggum street,
Right.
you know. And that's part of the problem. Now, 4th and 5th graders, take the ROTC over there. When the ROTC was out there performing, Joe, them kids got into that beat. They were watching them with them guns, brought them with some guns around.
Yeah.
Take the ROTC over there, teach them regimentation.
Yeah.
Standard attention. Parade right rest, how to touch a guy's shoulder to get your link together. Teach them how to march in cadence. And then you bring them the Divine 9 in. And let them teach them how to step. You understand me? Mm-hmm. So I want you to imagine 4th and 5th graders marching down the hallway. And when they hit that corner, Joe, they do the little twirl, break it down, and keep on marching, each one of them. Right. Guess what the little kids going to do when they see all this? They're going to go, hey, I like that. Mm-hmm. I can do that. So instead of becoming a gang member, they become engaged in this program involving ROTC and the Divine 9 folks coming in and teach them. And then every spring we come in and we do a what we used to call it a step show back in the day. You right, Joe?
Yeah.
High school and watch a step show. So I want you to imagine 4th and 5th graders coming into the high school and they doing a step show competition. Okay. But to be on this step team, guess what you got to do? You got to come to school every day.
Yeah.
Get your homework done.
Yeah.
Trouble. And you got to have a 2.5 or better grade point average. Guess what they're going to do? Because they want to be a part of this new gang that we've initiated, right? Okay. And we put them out front and see, once they see what they can do when they work together as a team, I promise you, it's going to change attitudes. It's going to change the focus on education. It's going to change the focus of them kids. And they're going to realize, hey, we're powerful together. Look at what we can do. We got folk up in these stands cheering and hollering our name because we stepped up in here and we put on a daggone good show. You know, instead of going out there robbing, stealing, we got to do something. Multifaceted. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
But it's got to be multifaceted.
You know, I just hope, right, that we look at this as not as a Black problem, a white problem, a Latino problem, Asian problem.
It's a people problem.
We look at it as an American problem, right? And we got to fix it because at the end of the day, we are all affected. We're all going to pay with, it could be crime that's going to occur in all the communities that it's going to be the taxpayers, the people's money, and the people's life and health and society is going to have to deal with the dangers or the downfalls that come with this. So it's a united effort. I hope they do some studies, research, because we are all in this together.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, man. We're going to wrap it, man. This is just this video, y'all heard the squad that had nothing to do with policing. Y'all heard us how we feel. Black men coming from within the community came back, police the community, and you got to see a little different side of us. We're talking just being a fucking human being, bro. Just like being a decent person. Like, this is just crazy that we got kids this young acting in this type of manner. Like, this is those are some badass kids, yo. Like, how do you become a badass kid at 7? Like, how does that happen? You 7, 8 years old, you a badass kid? Like, what the hell? What for the past 7, 8 years? What the hell you been going through in your life that turned you into a badass kid at that age? Like, that I just can't even grasp that. Like, this is just crazy. Listen, keep sending the videos. Love you guys supporting the brand. Appreciate you. Don't forget the link. If you want the link, shoot some breaking news. It's definitely gonna be in the actual write-up. Please, every Thursday we're on Old School Cops. We got the squad. Keep sending the videos. I would say be safe. If you got any beef with the cops, take it to the courtroom. But this wasn't even a cop video. If you see somebody, look, we gotta leave them with something, right? If you see, and we need to get involved as a community, You see a bunch of little badass kids jumping a pregnant female in the community, get involved. Please get involved. We got to do this as a community. I know people like to move and say, I need to mind my business. I don't want to get involved. For us to change, for us to take care of these type of issues, we need to come together as a community. So please, just don't look the other way. Sometimes you just got to get involved.
Yeah, you do.
Go ahead. What you say?
Got to.
Yeah. Love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Dave fell asleep.
All right, we're done now. I got to go to bed, man. I'm about to go to sleep.
Yeah. Yo, this
4:30.
last one was a little wild.
Man, let me tell you something. I was raised in the hood, Joe. The little 5-year-olds get fighting first. Then the 7, 8-year-olds. Then the 9, 10-year-olds. Next thing you know, you got grown folk out there fighting like cats and dogs that started with little 5-year-olds. Okay, and this was 40 years ago when I was in the project, 50 years ago when I was in the project. So it done got worse now because they own the neighborhood and they ain't playing. They ain't playing.
Hey, Ted. Yo. Don't think we forgot. Remember, what's that chick that you said you got beat up, Joe?
Yeah.
Tell Ted we ain't forget about that.
the one that scared him.
Yeah. Ted, what's that chick? What's that chick the bully?
No, them were twins, man.
What's that?
Twins.
They were twins.
Twins.
Melinda and Belinda Shed. I saw them girls, man. They 70 years old now, 80, probably 75, 72. I saw them.
You saw them?
I got mad. I want to whip their ass so bad.
He caught him.
And they still dress them
Joe, Ted got mad, but he ain't do nothing. Ted, if you want me, I'll come down there.
I was 5 years old, man. I can take them out now. They terrorized us, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. They terrorized us. I ain't forgot that. I forgot.
Man.
I'm scarred for life. Yeah, I'm 66 years old. And I want to whoop some 72-year-old ass, because they beat me up when I was 5.
I'm going to bed,
guys, take your asses to bed.
Yeah, I'm tired.
All right, dude.
We'll talk.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Always a pleasure.
All right.
Always a pleasure. All right.